As the smoke cleared from the battlefield, the victors stood amidst the ruins, their banners unfurled in the wind, but their triumph was short-lived. For in this world, victory came at a terrible cost, and the echoes of the fallen still lingered in the air. The heroes were now faced with the grim task of rebuilding a shattered world, a world irrevocably changed by the horrors of war. Yet amidst the devastation, the seeds of hope were sown. The resilience of the human spirit, the bonds of unity forged in the fires of conflict, and the promise of a brighter future. All of these things would serve to inspire the legends of valor that would be sung for generations to come. The story of one soldier became an epic poem, his name synonymous with courage and sacrifice. Sir Bedivere, they called him, and he had been the shield wall at the hour of greatest need. His sword, it had drank deeply of the blood of the enemy. His armor was a testament to countless battles won and scars borne with honor. He was a living legend, a beacon of strength and stoicism amidst the chaos of war. Now, as the last embers of conflict faded, he found himself at Camelot, the seat of King Arthur's power. Where he stood before the royal courts, the weight of his deeds pressing heavily upon his shoulders. For war had not just been about battles and bloodshed, it had been about choices, tough choices that tested the very core of his being. In the heat of the moment, he had led his men through fire and steel, each decision aimed at one goal, victory. But victory had come at a terrible price, a price he now had to face. Around him, the court buzzed with activity. Lords and ladies, their faces etched with fatigue and grief, discussed the terms of the treaty with weary voices. The shadow of war still loomed over them, even in this moment of supposed peace. It was a haunting reminder of the cost of victory. A cost measured not just in lives lost, but in the fractured landscape of their world. A chill wind swept through the open hole, stirring the banners that hung from the rafters like silent mourners. They were symbols of battles fought, of lives lost, and of a legacy that now rested on his shoulders. A bard with a mournful tune on his lyre seemed to weave the tales of the fallen into the very fabric of the hall. Each note a lament, each chord The music swelled, carrying with it the whispers of the dead, their voices mingling with the wind outside, creating a symphony of sorrow. He stood there, his gaze fixed on the distant hearth, where the dying embers mirrored the flickering light in his eyes. It was a heavy burden to bear, the weight of remembrance, but he bore it with the same stoicism he had displayed on the battlefield. Suddenly, a hush fell over the court. All eyes turned towards the entrance as a figure emerged, his silhouette framed against the setting sun. It was King Arthur, his presence commanding attention, his bearing a regal calm that had seen him through countless battles. In his wake, the king moved, his steps echoing the rhythm of a long-forgotten war drum. There was a new gravity in his gait, a somberness in his eyes that spoke of battles fought not just on the field, but in the chambers of his heart. As he took his seat, a deep silence fell over the court. It was a silence, not of awkwardness, but of respect, a deference to the leader who had guided them through the darkest days of their existence. "We are gathered here today!" King Arthur's voice echoed through the hall, each word carefully measured, not just as victors, but as survivors. His gaze swept over the assembly, lingering on each face, as if seeking to understand the toll war had taken on his people. "We have stared into the abyss and emerged, battered but unbroken. Our wounds run deep, not just on our bodies, but on our souls." There was a murmur of agreement, a shared acknowledgement of the toll that war had taken on them all. "War is not just a clash of steel," the king continued, his voice hardening. "It is a corruption of the soul. It is a test of our mettle, a crucible in which our courage is tempered." He paused, meeting the gaze of Sir Bedivere. "You have served with Valar, Sir Bedivere. Your deeds on the field have echoed in the annals of our kingdom. You have proven yourself not just a warrior, but a leader, a bulwark against the tide of darkness." These words, spoken with such gravitas, were like a baptism of fire, a confirmation of his role in the grand narrative of their survival. But the knight's response was a simple, "It was my duty, my king." A single word that encapsulated the essence of their bond, duty. A duty to their king, to their kingdom, and to themselves. Arthur nodded, understanding shining in his eyes. "And yet, even in the face of overwhelming odds, you chose not just to fight, but to protect. to shield those in need, even at the risk of your own life. There was a stirring in the court, a recognition of the knight's selflessness, of his unwavering commitment to the ideals they held dear. Sir Bedivere looked out at the assembled knights and nobles. Their faces, etched with the hardships of war, now shone with admiration. He had fought alongside them, bled alongside them, and now they stood together, bound by a shared experience that transcended the call of duty. "We are soldiers," he said, his voice resonating with the echoes of the battlefield. "But we are also human. We have felt the sting of loss, the bite of grief, the cold grip of fear." There was a wave of understanding murmurs as if each person in the court was finding solace in the shared acknowledgement of their emotions. "Tonight, we do not celebrate our victories. Tonight, we remember those who did not return from the field. We honor their sacrifice, their bravery, their unwavering loyalty to this kingdom." A hush fell over the court as the gravity of the moment descended upon them. In the flickering firelight, they saw not just the embers of a dying day, but the spirits of their fallen comrades. As the night deepened, so did the solemnity of the occasion. With each passing hour, the stories shared. The laughter echoed more hollowly in the vast hall. The celebration of victory, once a glorious prospect, now seemed like a betrayal of those who had paid the ultimate price. And so they sat in silence, united in their grief, their shared loss binding them together in a way that only those who had faced the abyss could understand. The day after, as the first rays of dawn touched the ramparts of Camelot, a sense of foreboding settled over the kingdom. It was the day the knights would have set out on their final mission, the recovery of their fallen comrades' remains. It was a solemn task, a duty to their dead that transcended any strategic or political objective. The knights, clad in their somber battle garb, stood ready before King Arthur. Their faces, usually alight with the camaraderie of the battlefield, were now etched with determination and grief. Arthur, his features grave, addressed his knights. "Today, we do not fight for land or glory, but for the memory of our fallen brothers. Our mission is not to conquer, but to recover. We go not as conquerors, but as mourners." As they rode out of the castle, the full weight of their mission pressed upon them. It wasn't just a retrieval operation. It was a pilgrimage of remembrance. Through the charred remnants of towns and across fields stained with the blood of battle, they rode every mile, a reminder of the cost of war, every landmark echoing with the ghosts of the fallen. Finally, they reached the place where their comrade had fallen. It was a scene of desolation, a graveyard of their hopes and dreams. With reverence, they dismounted. This was hallowed ground, a place where valor had met its end, where courage had turned to dust. They recovered what they could of their comrade, their movements slow, their steps measured. It was a somber procession, a cortege of grief. As they carried their comrades' remains back to Camelot, the weight of their mission pressed heavily on their hearts. Each step was a tribute, each footfall a prayer. Upon their return to Camelot, a funeral unlike any other was held. The usual trappings of war were gone, replaced by the hushed tones of remembrance and the quiet dignity of loss. Their comrade was laid to rest, not in a tomb of stone, but in a mound of earth beneath an ancient oak. And there, under the watchful gaze of the ancient tree, they buried more than just a body. They buried a part of their souls, a piece of their shared history that would forever be a part of Camelot's mournful lore. And so the tale of Sir Bedivere, the valiant knight, echoed through the ages. Not as a tale of endless victories, but as a testament to the human spirit's ability to endure, to adapt, and to carry on in the face of unimaginable challenges. His story was a reminder of the cost of war, the heavy burden of leadership, and the enduring power of camaraderie and remembrance. It was a story that didn't just celebrate the triumphs of arms, but delved into the complexities of the human condition, reminding all who heard it that true strength lay not just in the power to conquer, but in the courage to remember and the wisdom to honor those who had fallen.